Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast. We fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts, Mattson.
Better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like button, bell notification, all that fun stuff you're supposed to click on. We appreciate it. It helps grow the podcast, keeps us coming back for more, and it lets you know when you can watch and listen to us, especially where we do all this live stuff. It'll get notifications, all that fun stuff for all our videos and episode releases. With that, today we're reviewing Pinocchio, the live action version that was released. I mean, what was it, this week? I usually have that right in front of me. Yeah, September 8th, 2022. So last week. It was written by Robert Zemeckis and Chris Weitz. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis. It stars Tom Hanks, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, Angus Wright, Cynthia Erivo, Sheila Atim, Lorraine Bracco, Keegan Michael Key, Giuseppe Battistone, Llewyn Lloyd, and Luke Evans. Yeah. A puppet is brought to life by a fairy who assigns him to lead a virtuous life in order to become a real boy. Can Disney stop doing live action shit of their cartoons, please?
No, because it's making them shit ton of money.
I know it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Well, they shouldn't, but we all sat around and watched it.
Look, let me say, my catchphrase, better read than dead. I would have rather been dead than read watching this movie. And I love Tom Hanks. Huge Tom Hanks fan. Granted, Tom Hanks wasn't really in this movie. Let's just be honest about that. He was kind of like beginning, sporadically in the middle, and then the end. Like, I've been sitting here. I was gonna look up the story Pinocchio again because like I'm a little fuzzy on it, and then everything that happened. I guess I'm. It's all coming back to me. I don't really care about Pinocchio. He's kind of a low rung, like last ditch Disney character that I don't give two flying F's about, and that's kind of how I felt about this movie. What I struggle with movies like this is when there's like a little book or a story that gets stretched out into a feature-length movie. It's how I feel about what's the Tom Hanks movie, the Christmas movie that's animated with the train?
The Christmas Carol?
Yeah,
no.
Polar Express.
Yeah, Polar Express. My dad loves that movie. I can't stand that movie because like the book, like the little book you read for Christmas, like sweet, solid. Mm-hmm. But they turn it into a movie and they're trying to create all this filler crap and feel the same way about Pinocchio. Like all this stuff in the in between. I honestly did not care. There's points where my eyes were starting to glaze over and I was like, I don't even want to be here or watching this. And yeah, and the CGI bothered me, and like all kind of, I don't really have much to say. Can Disney like use a proper? If you're gonna use a cat, just use a cat, not a freaking fake cat. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep rambling. I didn't like it at all.
It's very indicative of Robert Zemeckis, and I think that's my problem with Robert Zemeckis. Like most Robert Zemeckis films, you're like, oh, this is a Robert Zemeckis film. I mean, there's only a handful that aren't like that. Like Forrest Gump, like I wouldn't, it's not one of those things that you first think that Robert Zemeckis did. And then Castaway is another one. But for the most part, the rest of his movies, like you're like, oh yeah, it's a Robert Zemeckis film. And the first thing you can do is
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first thing ever since he did Forrest Gump, they've all had Tom Hanks in them pretty much. So I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing is he makes great films sometimes. Like Forrest Gump's amazing. Contact is great. Castaway was okay. Back to the Future 2 was good. 3, not so much. Back to the Future was one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. Romancing the Stone was entertaining. So he has these films that are really good. And then he has this. And he has the one that Mattson was talking about, the Polar Express, and then he has Beowulf. I mean, Jesus.
Gosh, that movie.
I like Beowulf. It's funny.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And that's the kind of, and then he has like, I don't know, Death Becomes Her is one of those ones that you love and hate if you've ever seen it. Like it's interesting, but it's really not a great movie. So I don't know. Robert Zemeckis is tough, but like his animated movies, I have yet to watch one that he's animated that I liked. And this one's no different. It's just bloated, and I don't know. I didn't like Pinocchio the cartoon that much when I was a kid because
it's dark as shit.
Well, yeah, the book itself, like the actual story,
is even worse. But Disney's version, the animated one, is dark.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not a
kid's
kid's
movie.
movie.
The story is heavy,
Dark.
like it's this, going through all of the worst parts of humanity and trying to overcome it when most don't, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I was impressed with it overall, and I didn't even really like Tom Hanks as Geppetto, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I didn't like any of them.
It was a lackluster performance. My favorite part was, is it Keegan Michael Key, who was Honest John?
Yeah, the fox. Yeah, he was Honest John.
He's the best part. And they cut the acting part even. But I was like, I was watching it going, this is some hot garbage, as JJ would say. I'm gonna steal his phrase. This is dumpster fire of hot garbage.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and not only that, but that's the part that's like stupid. Yeah, Keegan Michael Key was great as Honest John, and Luke Evans, of all people, was amazing as the coachman.
Yeah, but he had like 30 seconds of screen time.
I know, but I didn't know Luke Evans could sing like that. Like, I think about Luke Evans is like vampire shit and weird like fighting movies. Like, I don't.
He was in Beauty and the Beast, the live action remake. So he's He's got a set of pipes on him. But
I forgot he was Gaston.
How are you gonna
disrespecting the man like that?
Yeah, how are you going to cast Luke Evans for a 30-second role? What's the point?
Well, why did you pay freaking I can't think of his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt to not sound like Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
Do you know how many voice actors there are out there that could sound just like that or better without paying them what you would have to pay Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Like that, when I was reading through the cast and saw it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt that was Jiminy Cricket, I was like, what? Why?
Doesn't make any sense.
You can't tell it's him, and that's why you do famous voices, is to know who it is. Keegan Michael Key, I knew exactly who Honest John was. I had no idea who Jiminy Cricket was. I just thought it was some random voice actor until I looked it up.
And to me, that Disney knows they made a pile of shit. But they had this great cast, so people are like, oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. Oh my gosh, Luke Evans is in it. And Tom Hanks is going to be great. And it was awful, but you have all these.
We knew it was going to be terrible because none of us remembered this movie was even coming out until we were looking for things to review that were coming out. And we're like, oh, Pinocchio's coming out. Disney put this on the back burner. I haven't seen like any commercials, anything that's been peddling this movie out there. And maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places, or I'm not a child molester. I don't know what it is, but this movie is horrible.
Where's the correlation?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where my brain's at right now. I just feel like I watched an hour and a half of trash.
Random Mattson strikes again. Oh, shit balls. That was funny. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, it's so, like, the animation wasn't even impressive, and some of it was downright terrible.
No, the drinking of the root beer. Root beer doesn't even look like that. Two, like they put it back in like half a second. I'm like, you can't, like, I don't know. It just looked it looked bad.
Well, it didn't move. First of all, like it just kind of sat there with the suds on top. But that's the part that is frustrating, is they had to say root beer, but in the book, it's not. It's beer.
Up. Oh, why did they just say beer then?
Because it's Disney and it's a kids movie, and people will be like, "You're teaching my kid how to drink beer." No, you alcoholic, you taught your kid how to drink beer. This movie just shows that you shouldn't.
And that's the thing, is like everybody looks at it from a surface level. Pinocchio is about not doing shit you shouldn't do, because if you do, bad things happen.
Yeah, it's literally about not being a dick.
Yeah, like, and there's consequences if you are a dick. Yeah. Like, straight up, that's what it is. But people are like, oh no, you're teaching my kid how to drink, or you're teaching my kid how to smoke. And so Disney tones it down, and it just makes it worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes me feel like I'm stupid. Or they think I'm stupid anyway. I don't feel like I'm stupid, but they think I am. And I'm like, no, not really even that. It's that It's the stupid people that sue Disney or rate it. You know what? Fuck stupid people. Go away. Just make movies for smart people. The stupid people will go away. Maybe.
That's fair.
I hope.
Survival of the fittest. They'll weed themselves out, right?
We don't do that though anymore.
Just take the warning labels off of everything. We'd be okay.
That's gonna be the next JJ's dumb shit. Is what would happen if we took off warning labels? Like, seriously though, I'm gonna start working on that. That's my next iteration. Is what are the best warning labels and what would happen if we took them off? I mean, we see with warning labels, dumbasses still eat fucking Tide Pod. So.
I will say, though, about this movie, I enjoyed the Geppetto backstory, where they hint at the reason he made Pinocchio was he lost his son, he lost his wife, type of a thing. But they never actually said it. But they hinted that that's the reason. Oh, you look just like him, type of thing when Geppetto's talking. So I enjoyed that part. So when that was happening, I was like, hey, maybe this isn't going to be as bad as I thought it was. And then it was as bad as I thought it was, and even maybe a little bit worse.
Let's just psychoanalyze that for a moment there. So you lose the two loves of your life, and then you think the solution is to carve as much of a realistic wooden version of your son as possible and hope that it comes alive. And we're just supposed to be okay that this is a rational thought. And when the piece of wood does come to life, that you are sure that you are 100% sane and no one's going to think you're absolutely insane because there's a wooden boy that looks like your son that's alive. I think it's a weird story. And I think we should
don't read the book.
Yeah, don't read the book, dude.
No, and
that shit will keep you up at night.
And I never plan to because it has a whale in it. And I learned with Moby Dick, you don't read books with whales because they all suck.
You know what though? That's not Pinocchio's a good book. It's just dark because it's not. There's nothing. That's not. There's very little that's happy about the real story of Pinocchio because it is based in tragedy and it's based on this person trying to cope with tragedy, and then it's this allegory for bringing someone into the world, like bringing a child into the world, and then what does that look like? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just ugly because the world can be so ugly, And then it's really interesting to me because this wooden boy goes through all these shitty things that humans have to go through just to become a real boy and probably go through the same kind of shit again. Or just there's the hint. I don't know if you remember, Alec, but there's like little subtle hints that, yep, he learned how to be a real boy. Now he's going to grow up to be a dick like the rest of us. Like, it's just like, it's so pessimistic and dark and yet real because that's the symbolism is great. Like the jackasses, everybody turning into donkeys and asses. And it's just hilarious when you look at it, and everybody that's watching this movie that doesn't get it. And I'm sure there are plenty. You just want to put a mirror up and go, dude, this movie's about you. You know what I mean? Like, it's
congratulations. You're Lampwick.
Yeah. You're the dumbass that doesn't even realize he's turning into an ass. Like, it's just, it's great. But the movie
was not.
No, it was definitely not. Yeah, when the best CGI is your whale, just because it's so big, you can't fuck it up, you got a problem.
It never fits in one single frame, so you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, and like most of what you see is like tentacles and teeth. It was bad. It was bad. And I don't know how it's got to be a Zemeckis thing because of who Zemeckis is. He just gets actors to come and be in movies with him. But
learn to say no, guys. Learn to say no.
Yeah, and I think the only one that's not going to is Hanks because the dude got him an Oscar, and I'm sure they're like best friends now. But because they do everything.
Look, we already know the solution here: drugs and cocaine. Get most people to do a lot of things. Probably got a good supply.
Did you watch this movie, Mattson? It literally talks about the consequences of your actions, like doing drugs and cocaine. It defeats the purpose if you do drugs while watching this film.
I'm just saying, I think that's what got the actors to act in this movie, because what else is going to motivate you? They all have money. There's got to be something else.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question. and it could be narrowed down. My lack of the reason I have to ask this question is because I lost interest 10 minutes in, and I had other things that I was working on.
I
So
won't
there
be
were
able to
things that
answer because I was in the same boat.
I think I missed. Did we not have the growing nose piece?
Oh, we did.
We did.
Okay, see, I just completely missed it. Like,
it was when he was in the cage in Stromboli's wagon to get the key. But it was very played down as well.
I was going to say, it's like a huge part.
Yeah, they didn't really
kind
lean
of
into
brushed
it.
over the fact that it's lies that, grow your nose and truth that shrinks, and they just, oh, that's a fib, type of a thing, and move past it. It was very brief, which is, like you said, a huge plot point.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like the most deep, like dove into, other than the Pleasure Island, it's probably the most fleshed out plot point in the book and in the original cartoon. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I was like, I'm not rewinding any of this movie, but did they just not include it? Because I must have completely glossed over that part by that point.
It was probably only like 30 seconds, to be honest, of a plot point, which is odd because
crazy.
Like the original story, it takes him a while to figure out what's a lie, what's not. And it's a process because that's what you go through when you're growing up. It's a process, and he's got it figured out in like 30 seconds and then gloss over it and let's go.
Can you all explain to me on Pleasure Island the ghost things that were transporting said donkeys? What was that?
That's like so you could have a scary thing that was transporting said donkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, in the book, isn't it that they're telling him we'll change you back if you get on this train or whatever?
Yeah, they're doing tricky stuff like that.
Yeah, they turn him into a donkey by being there and giving into their carnal pleasures, and then because they're stupid, they trick them onto the train to take them down to the work mines. To do work, the salt mine, by telling them they'll make them not donkeys anymore, and you can come back. So the monster collecting that was just we need a visual for this people, and let's do some cool CGI. And that I take that back. The monsters were the best CGI because they're gaseous forms, so there's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, pretty cool. But I wasn't really overall impressed with the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think part of that comes from, it's a dangerous thing because there's, even in the cartoon, the original cartoon, which like you say is pretty dark because it tries to tell the story in a way that lightens it up, and it's animated, so it is what it is, but they tackle this movie in this way to just retell, to like make money. You can tell it's a moneymaker. Here, let's slap Pinocchio on it and some big stars, and we'll tell most of the story. But if you're not telling the actual allegory, what the shit are you doing? Like, it's pointless if you don't have the actual point of the movie or the story, and there isn't any. It's just this kid willy-nilly going places and getting in trouble and then somehow miraculously getting out of trouble at the same time. But there's no point to it. You know what I mean? And that's the other piece, that he gets lucky 9 times out of 10 to get out of it. And in the book and even the original cartoon, like, he actually works his way out of every situation, and then uses, like, one thing they did get in this one is that he uses his weird abilities and things to save the day in the end. But in this one, he's just getting lucky because a seagull flies in the way or a rock randomly hits a freaking jar, or it's like, no, they were both putting in work because they get themselves in trouble, and then they'd be like, shit, I gotta fix this.
Which is the point of a lesson. Like, you gotta pull yourself out of the hole you dig it into.
Yeah.
Versus this whole kind of, luck's what wins out.
Yeah.
And I don't think Disney should remake anything, to be honest. But they got spoiled with Jungle Book. Yeah. Because when Jungle Book was the first one you did, that was good.
Well, and when you get Jon Favreau to do it, and he rebuilds, like, he completely reinvents CGI to live action, of course it's gonna work. And then they're like, let's do it again, and then they fuckered it up so many times now. That was the only one that I look back and go, oh, that was good. I liked it.
It was the first one, and they said, "Oh, we can make a lot of money," and everything else has been really bad.
Yeah, now they're just making them for the sake of making them.
The only other plot point that I really kind of liked was Pinocchio, as he's kind of building his conscience and he comes up with ideas and starts to gain confidence. And even on Pleasure Island, he's like, no, that's not right. That's wrong. You know, he doesn't leave, but he's building it up. And you see that kind of progress till by the end, he's, you know, kind of the one who's thinking of the plan to get out of Monstro's belly, and he's kind of taking control. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But it was such a small part that I enjoyed, and it wasn't anything really super important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is good that they gave him the chance to learn from the experiences, right? It's just that he didn't learn from any of the major mistakes. It was like he learned, hey, I can set my feet on fire, or you know what I mean? Or this decision doesn't seem like it's okay because it's not something that Geppetto would do. You know what I mean? The fact that you have to lean on that's great, but you also made some pretty silly mistakes. Where's your learning there? Oh no, we'll just go to this place and it's silly.
Like the best part of this movie happened at the beginning when one of the clock little towers showed Snow White and the doors, and the Snow White fell in, and like the witch went away. Like that, I was like, okay, see that was cool. That's like all I really remember. Like this movie is so not cool that I don't even have any things that I can get mad about because I just didn't like it enough to even get mad. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like,
It's like, how are JJ and Alec talking this much about this?
I don't even know. Like for our listeners,
I am scraping the bottom of the barrel right
now. For our
listeners,
we're saving you an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes, whatever. A lot of credits at the end. Yeah. We're saving you here. Like, don't even go watch the animated Pinocchio because let's just be honest. Like, and I'm talking about Disney pecking order. Pinocchio's like down there with Snow White. Like I ain't watching that ever. I'm watching Hercules. I'm watching The Jungle Book. What else am I watching? Oh, Mulan. Like, let's go and talk about a terrible live action remake. Mulan was horrible. Watch some of that stuff before you're watching any of this. Like, I don't know. There's a reason that there's not a lot of Pinocchio at Disneyland at Disney World. I think it's because nobody really cares.
That's fair. Though Mulan was bad live action, though it did make for one of the funnier moments in our podcast. You should go listen to that episode. It's the intro.
I don't remember what was said during that, but it probably wasn't me.
I was so pissed off because she gets shot in the ass with the arrow, and I was like, "Use your Go-Go Gadget sleeves." What the fuck? Like, catch that shit. Why get shot?
Oh, that's right.
When we seen you had Go-Go Gadget sleeves on your shit, use that. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. That was a funny. We shit all over that movie.
Is it? I know Disney's they're gonna do a live action. Well, the thing that's happening with Disney right now, if you guys have all seen the trailer that's come out with Little Mermaid, they're getting hammered for that right now. I saw that there's like people going crazy over. Social media is on fire with the polarization of what Little Mermaid is right now.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep in this though. I do want to do. So we're doing listeners. We are doing I'm working on, I haven't today though, I have it a couple days. We're doing a Patreon. And one of the things the Patreon is going to allow us to do is talk about shit that I'm not okay talking about that's going to go on YouTube. And this is one of those things. So I'll say this. Look, if you have a problem with Ariel being a black woman, shut the fuck up. And get it. Just don't talk to me. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. So there's my opinion. It is what it is. However, it is a shit show right now. But on the flip side of my opinion, there are some hysterical ass memes out there right now about that shit. And I want to talk about them, but I'm not doing it in a format where public can see it. So if you want to hear me talk about these damn funny memes out there about this shit, you better get our Patreon up and running when it comes out this weekend, because we're going to talk about it because they're fucking hilarious. Terrible, but they're hilarious. So
I'm worried about what's going to happen with it.
Wait,
dude. Yeah,
Little Mermaid has enough iconic. I mean, you've got Flounder. Why am I forgetting the hermit crab's name? What's his name? Sebastian. Yeah,
bro.
Sorry, I shouldn't even be forgetting the name. I know, Sebastian.
Dude, Little Mermaid's one
Ursula.
of
I
my
mean, all this
favorites.
stuff. Like, you've got iconic Disney. You're talking about, and I should have named that movie. I mean, Little Mermaid's up there for one of my favorite. I mean, come on, I'm a redhead. Like, I got to be paying homage to that. So, is little. That's. I'm very nervous about that because there's a lot that needs to go right. That's probably going to go very wrong in that movie.
Oh, for sure.
Because if Disney's willing to get rid of Mushu and Mulan for live action, who is one of the greatest animated characters that Disney had to offer, what are they going to do to Little Mermaid? Like, I'm worried they're just going to omit, like, Flounder or something. Like, you need the dude. I don't know.
I don't think they'll do that with Little Mermaid because the reason they did it with Mushu is because China is one of the biggest markets for watching, and that's very offensive to China because the dragons are. It's like someone having a pet Jesus walk on their shoulder, and like the Christians losing their mind. It's a very sacred thing.
Catch me on Patreon with my quick take there, but I'll just be quiet for now.
Is pet Jesus a real thing? And like,
it should be. If it's not, yeah. Atheists unite. Let's do it. I'm not kidding, but that's okay. I was gonna lie and say I was kidding, but I'm not. So I don't know. I don't think they'll get rid of that stuff, but I just think when we talk. But here's my fear with Little Mermaid going along with Pinocchio, and this is my tie into Pinocchio with that is that Pinocchio is an extremely dark story. The Little Mermaid, Pinocchio ain't got shit on the actual Little Mermaid story. Like the book is whole. Now you talk about dark because look, mermaids are not friendly creatures in actual mythology.
Even the little ones, they're mean.
Yeah. So it's not a pleasant story. Like I said, it's even worse than Pinocchio. So I worry about, because they did have some pretty good, again, they had some great points within the cartoon version of it, right? My fear is they've watered them all down. Every time they do a live action, they take the actual allegory out of the allegory. And it's like, what are you doing? So anyway.
When does that come out?
Little Mermaid?
Mm-hmm.
Oofty. I don't know. I don't know that it's been announced yet.
Let's see. Let's consult
because I
Google.
think that
May 26th of 2023 apparently, so it might get bumped or pushed, but late spring, early summer it looks like.
Yeah, that would have been announced at D23 because that's what that trailer is a D23 trailer. So that I think was leaked. I don't think it was supposed to be public, but it got leaked, and now it's a shit show.
Going back to Pinocchio, the song that they sing in Pinocchio, that seems like a song that Disney has taken just to be like the Disney song, though. So I got to give Pinocchio that, like, they didn't do a lot right, but they got the one song that encapsulates all of Dreamland, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. They got the song for Pinocchio, and then they got Tinkerbell. And so it's like two of the characters that, like, you just don't go, yeah, that's Disney. You know what I mean? But they're on the logo or on the soundbite. Yeah. I have to say, though, in my opinion, the most underrated Disney movie is the oh hell no, my brain just stopped. What's the Sheriff of Nottingham and
Robin Hood?
Yeah, Robin Hood. What a great Disney movie. It's great. Anyway.
All right. Are we ready to rate this dumpster fire?
Let's rate it. You go ahead, Alex. You start this shit show.
Excellent. Yeah, so I did enjoy this movie. Not a lot. Terrible. Yeah. I did, even though it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, not sounding like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jiminy Cricket was pretty cool. True. And kind of his voice and everything matched the animated version really well, I thought. So he put in the work. Everybody else sucked. It's going to get a 0.5 for me.
Ooh, buddy.
Absolute dumpster fire. Disney, you can do better. You have the budget. You have the means. Put out good content.
Please, God, put out good content. All right, Mattson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to 0.5 as well. Like many movies that are worse than this movie. Like we know them. She Dies Tomorrow. Anything Charles recommends. Stuff like that. But there's just nothing that's going to get you to watch this movie. Like, do you want to go watch the original? I don't even think that's that good of a movie, but CGI is terrible. I don't think the acting's great. Man, my boy Tom Hanks, like, this movie made a poo-poo out of him too. Tom Hanks, definitely, let's not do a mustache and let's not look overdressed and wear like wool stockings all the time. Not a good look for you. But there's just like, you guys have heard, I've been pretty silent and just have said basically nothing this whole podcast, which is reflective in my whole plan this time for this movie. There's nothing good or redeeming about it. Even the message that you're going to learn from it, I think you could just tell your kids in better ways to teach them what is right and wrong, because I don't even think they focus on that very well at times in this movie, and utilize the one aspect, as we talked about, the visual of the nose growing and not growing. Like, they didn't even lean into that. They should have. There's just so many other things I'd rather watch. Like, sometimes doing this podcast is hard, and today, let me tell you, was one of those days, because this movie sucked just some serious balls, because I forgot that we were supposed to watch this until earlier this afternoon myself, and man, I was disappointed that I had to watch it, and then it just got worse. So absolute 0.5, will never, ever, ever watch this movie again. And even if you paid me $100 right now to go watch it, I wouldn't.
You got to think on that one for
really?
I gotta think on that for a minute.
I wouldn't, because I want to go watch the Chiefs Chargers game right now.
That's fair. Yeah, this movie sucked. It wasn't enjoyable. I will agree with Alec that I forgot, even though I was shitting on, the fact that you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, simply to say you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the look of, not only did he sound good and it was an entertaining piece, but he looked good too. Jiminy Cricket actually looked pretty good. Outside of that, poo-poo on this movie. I will say though that it always has one of my favorite songs, because I don't know why it stuck with me when I was a kid, but There Ain't No Strings on Me, like, I love that little ditty. Like, it's great, and I enjoyed, only because it's that song, I enjoyed the little clip and him lighting the stage on fire. Like, that shit was funny to me. But it's just like little things like that I was like, that's cool. And then they would ruin it by not doing something that really should have been part of the story, or, going, okay, well, what's the point in this? What the hell? The Lucky Rock off the train, or the freaking caravan thing. Anyway, it sucked. I am going to be a little nicer, just because I still would watch this before a number of other movies. I'm looking at you, Moonfall, and She Dies Tomorrow. So I'm going to give it a 1. I won't watch it again. I wouldn't even show this to my nieces, like, get into my Disney Plus. Watch anything else. Not that. So there it is. Yeah. Pinocchio. Mattson, tell everybody where they can find us.
Where can you find us? Wherever good podcasts can be found. You can look us up there at What's Our Verdict Reviews. Check us out on YouTube at What's Our Verdict to see our live beautiful faces. Check us out at TikTok to see all things Tigers, movie trivia, some of our podcast clips, Instagram as well. We're live on Facebook when we go live in YouTube. We're usually live on Mondays for Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, and we're also reviewing She-Hulk right now. I'm really excited for Andor, which is coming out in like 2 weeks. Getting pumped. It's a 3 episode drop too, so a lot to discuss there when that comes out. I know we're all pretty pumped about that. And then we've got some movies that are coming up, and we're really excited, as JJ talked about, to get a Patreon started, to get some kind of behind the scenes stuff that you all can start to. We're still kind of defining what that looks like, but vote on some things that we'll listen to or watch, amongst other things. But we'll have some more announcement there in the future.
Yeah, hard at work on that. Thanks, Mattson. Yeah, there it is. Pinocchio. We appreciate you tuning in as always, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!